The home of the Amazons is full of wonder, but perhaps the most prominent wonder of them all is the Amazon women themselves. In Wonder Woman: The Challenge of the Amazons, players will be tasked with defeating Ares, Circe, or the cheetah in an effort to protect their home from the invaders that threaten their paradise by corrupting the hearts of your fellow Amazon. To set up the game, put the board in the middle where all players can reach. Then each player takes their player board and their miniature, which will be placed in the center. This is the palace and the starting location for all of the players. A tracker token will then be placed on each of the tracks on the left and the right sides of the board. The Amazon defense track tells the players how close they are to being defeated, and the enemy track will show the players how close they are to defeating their foes. Each character will also have a special ability that will give them unique advantages that they'll need to leverage in order to work together and win the game, defeating, in this case, the evil Ares.
Throughout the game, players will be striking down Ares' servants of war, winning back over the hearts of their corrupted Amazon peers, tearing down the blockades that Ares throws in their pathways, and then assembling teams of warriors to assist them in their combat. At the end of each round, the players will lose 1 defense for each region with servants of war, lose 2 defense for each corrupted Amazon in the palace specifically, and lose 3 defense for each region with 5 or more obstacles, servants of war, or corrupted Amazons. At the start of each round, the enemy will advance on the Amazon's homeworld. This starts by flipping over the top card of the Ares deck and ignoring all text on the card except for the region shown at the very bottom. Move Ares directly to that region immediately and then add 2 servants of war to the region that he's currently in. In future rounds, if there are any warriors in the region Ares was moved to, then he corrupts them instead of deploying new servants. But now things get real. Depending on the number of players, a number of cards will be drawn from the top of the deck. In this example, we'll say that there are 3 players playing, and we're using Artemis, Diana, and Philippus. This means that we would then draw and resolve 2 cards for Ares to descend on the Amazon's homeworld. The first one would deploy 3 servants of war to the square. The second card would then deploy 2 corrupted Amazons to the training ground, and then replace all other warriors there with corrupted Amazons. Thankfully, there weren't any here, so this has no effect on the region as it stands. Each turn, players are going to take 3 total actions using a combination of icons available to them based on the cards that they're given, and then they'll place them either face up or face down on their player mat. Each enemy has an information card on the table sitting between each pair of players, which will tell them how to defeat each obstacle that they're faced with. When it comes to Ares, they'll need 3 wisdom to remove a corrupted Amazon and 2 vigor to remove a servant of war, as well as 3 agility to remove any blockades that they'll be faced with. They'll also be able to deal damage to Ares by having 4 of any one symbol. Now, as you'll see on the cards, that very few of them have 4 of any one icon. The Amazons will need to rely on their relics as well as their fellow Amazons to assist in their efforts. Some of these cards will allow the players to double their own hero cards, while others will allow the players to double another player's hero cards. The second step of the game is when players strategize together. During this time, they may discuss how to defend the island, and they can show each other the cards that they were dealt face up, but they may not show or discuss the cards that they have in their hand, which is kept secret from the other players. By default, during this phase, each player is dealt 2 cards face up and 3 cards to their hand. They won't look at these cards until phase 3, when battle begins. Some heroes' special abilities will give them more cards, either face up or face down. And all players must decide during this phase if they wish to use their hero power, because once battle begins, they cannot use it if they haven't already stated that they planned to. Once the players have decided that they've properly strategized, the battle will begin. They must halt all communication and decide which 3 cards to place onto their mat, using a mixture of their face-up cards and the cards from their hand, the cards that were dealt to them face down during the strategize together phase. They place their face-up cards on the mat, and the cards from their hand face down onto the mat. Once all players have locked in their 3 actions, they may communicate with each other again, and they begin taking their actions. Each hero card is revealed, but each player must choose which action from each card they're going to take. They may only use one action using one of the emblems on each card.
Some cards have an ability written above the emblems, and those can be used in addition to the emblems, but it's also important to note that each card may only be doubled in value once, even when relics are the ones doing the doubling.
Around the board, there are locations on which you'll see a star icon. If the player is on one of those spaces, they may use the leadership emblem and take the leadership action.
They'll be able to add additional Amazons into that space. These little white cubes are warriors that can be used to increase an emblem by 1 when the player takes a special action. Now, players will need to communicate effectively and work together, which brings us to the most important part, teaming up. Heroes can team up on special actions if they're in the same region. When performing the same special action using the same emblem, all players may add their emblems together. For example, if Diana and Philippus are in the same region as Ares, and they each have 2 swords on their hero cards, they may deal damage to Ares by combining their swords together to reach the 4 that they would need in order to deal damage to him and decrease his health by 1. Cooperation is key in defeating any of these enemies. While players may get Ares down to 1 health, the final blow to any enemy must be enacted with the Sword of Hephaestus, which is powered by collecting the 4 blessing tokens on the board. Once all of these have been gathered, and the player with the sword is in the same region as Ares, and they have at least 4 of the same emblem, then they may deal the final blow and defeat Ares once and for all. Just keep an eye out for those other villains on the horizon. Thanks so much for watching my video, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And tell us in the comments below who your favorite superhero is. Be bold, play games, be you. Happy gaming!